be outside performing burial every day. And they expect us to silence. Now it's an order. Nigerian government came out openly and denied there is no massacre. There is no genocide of Christians in Nigeria. And look at it today. Is there any Muslim here? United Nations, I know you're watching me. American Senate, you are watching what I'm doing, I'm saying here. Special advisor to Trump. Now, please tell Trump to save our life in Nigeria. They are killing Christians in Nigeria, massacre Christians. If they say they kill Muslims, Muslims are being killed. By who? By Muslims.
Across the heart of Nigeria, churches are burning, families are fleeing, and countless believers are dying in silence. These are not stories from a distant past. This is now. In the Middle Belt, Christian villages are being wiped off the map by armed Fulani militias and extremist groups. Priests are being kidnapped, sisters taken, children orphaned, and yet the world barely blinks. But today, thanks to Brother Maverick, one man of God, a Reverend Father from Nigeria, steps forward to break that silence. This is more than a conversation. This is a cry for help, a plea for justice, and a reminder that faith still stands even in the fire. When you go on your knees to pray, please remember Nigeria.
How many Muslims have passed away in the Nigerian conflicts?
I don't know if any Muslims have passed away in the Nigerian conflicts.
Of course you don't. Yeah, the Christian to Muslim ratio, unalived wise, it's almost 1-to-1. Estimates differ, obviously, but most estimates place Christians at like between 55 and 65, Muslims at like 50 to 60. 1,000 unalived.
Okay.
From what
Why don't the Christians know about the Muslim casualties? They only want to cry about Christian ones.
Well, nobody's crying about anything. We're trying to shed a light on it.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Have a good day, brother. I'm not going to do this with you guys today. I'm not. If you are a Muslim calling in and you just want to troll, I'm letting you know right now. I'm not going to give you what you want. So don't even bother. Okay. If you guys see I don't have you, I'm not telling you guys to call in. This is not a debate show. This is about us exposing and shedding a light, because I promise and guarantee you that if this was a travesty where Muslims were getting unalived like that, the world would be talking about it nonstop. You know how I know that? Because we hear about Gaza all day, every day. So I don't want to hear anything from anybody about this is only about Christians, because the videos and the travesties that are coming out are being ignored. If it wasn't for social media, I don't think we'd know about it at all, to be honest with you. Having said that, Father Omar, why don't you give us a little background as to what's going on with you guys over there, and how people can help if they really wanted to.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity, and I want to really appreciate you for having me here on this platform today. I'm just here to share our story. Yeah, on what is going on in Nigeria. Yeah, the Nigeria silent slaughter.
Okay.
A whole lot of things are happening in Nigeria at the moment. We have a general problem and we have particular problems. We have general unaliving and particular unaliving. So there have been repeatedly violent attacks in central Nigeria. We talk of Benue State in Nigeria. We talk of Plateau State. We talk of Kaduna. We talk of Katsina. We talk of Kogi. We talk of Edo. We talk of Enugu. We talk of Kwara, just to mention a few. A lot is ongoing in those places there. And sometimes between farming communities, often Christians or traditionalists, and the nomadic or semi-nomadic herders, Fulani Muslims. And this war has been ongoing. Many villages have been attacked. People have been unalive, mainly children, women, and houses burned, farmland destroyed, and even churches burned. Communities are being deserted. And these attacks and patterns are systematic. The attacks and the pattern, they are systematic. They are targeted and involving displacement of particular communities. And that is why I say we have the general and the particular. And we can give example of the well-known in Benue State in Yelewata. You may have heard of it, where over 100 to 200 persons were unalive over the night. And the attack was one of the dreadest attack I've ever seen, whereby they came while rain, there was a heavy downpour on that very day. And they came in a village, it's just that their houses are not too strong, not with their protective doors and irons. So they just opened the door, pour petrol, fuel on the children, and light matches on them to leave them to burn. Some where matches were used, guns were also used, and a whole lot of people were unalived in that particular Benue. And the pain is much, and it is unbearable at the moment. I have a priest colleague in the Benue State there. He lost the whole family, except his father. Some persons have lost the whole family. We have videos, we have pictures to back up these facts. They can check the internet and they will see all of this. Yes. It is not a hidden, they are not hidden. It's something that is open, except those who are not lovers of truth, who want to say what I'm saying is not true. And also, we have the one of Umbalom. There's a community called Umbalom, where 2 priests were unalived during the morning mass. That's about some years ago. And they were being buried on the hill of Ayati. Not only 2 of them, with about 20-something persons who were in the church for morning mass. They were unalived in that community. The pictures are there, the videos are there. This is not something that is being fabricated. They are there. And even the vice president then came for that funeral. And he said it is a pathetic situation. And we can say the present President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, he tweeted in 2014, and he was saying they should put an end to the unaliving of Christians. I have the tweet, I saved it from 2014. I still have it to date. Because I know a day will come when people will want to stand against truth. I have it on my phone, I have it on my system. I all save them there. That is another. Then we talk again in the same Benue State on May 27 this year, 2025. The village called Tiohala, the village called Tese Ubiam, Ahume, Andona, about 42 persons were unalived. 42 were unalived in that community. We're not talking of the ones that are spread. I'm talking of the numbers that are much. Even of yesterday, there was an attack there. Yesterday, there was an attack in Kogi State. On October 1st, when we celebrated our independence, there was an attack in somewhere in Niger. There was an attack too on the 3rd also, and on the 4th. So it is a daily occurrence. For those who know the truth, who stand for the truth, either Muslims, Christians, traditionalists, atheists, who are in Nigeria, we attest to what I'm saying. But those who do not want truth, who do not want peace, we still want to defend evil. But one thing I know is that the evil we defend today, the evil we incubate today, we grow up to become a big monster. And the monster will consume all of us. And that is why we are having the general problem also. The insecurity on our highways, the insecurity in communities. And I can tell you in October, in August and September, 4 of our priests were kidnapped from their parishes. Sisters are being kidnapped. We have people, we have churches, we have mosques in those communities. How many imams have been kidnapped in those communities? How many mosques have been burnt in those communities? But these things happen under our nose. It happens under our watch. And we think it is normal. It is not normal. Enough is enough. Yeah. All that we are calling is for both local and international community to hear what is happening in our country, Nigeria. All we need is peace. All we need is love. That all life matters. I go to Kastinala also in Benue State. Let me focus on Benue State. In Benue State there, Kastinala, the parish house was burnt. The church clinic was burnt. The church nursery and primary school was also burnt. My classmate was a parish priest there because there's nobody living in the parish again. That's why I say was. The place is vacant. And within the church, there were people who were in internally displaced community who ran and they were staying in the church. Some of them were unalived in the church there. He escaped. And prior to that time, I had discussion with him. One of the security personnel, some will ask, what of the security personnel, what are they doing? Some of them are like accomplices. Because he told me on Tuesday that one of the security personnel said the name of the community sounds like a Muslim name. So what are they dragging for? That the place belongs to the Muslims. He said it on Tuesday, and on Thursday, the village was razed down, and there were presence of security personnel. So what are we not talking about? Then we now go also the attack in Ondo State in Owo. In Ondo State, the attack in a village in Plateau State, in a village called Zike, in Plateau State. At least 52 persons were unalived. The state government called it a genocide. That was the first time. He said it is a genocide because what they see as deliberate and targeting, that is when he made the statement. And those who stand for the truth, they can go to the social media and check it out. The statement of the governor of the state, they will find it there. Then we have the attack of Owo in Ondo State on June 5th, 2022 in St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo. What happened? It happened on Pentecost when the church was filled up. Over 40 to 50 persons were unalive. 5 men were arrested of that attack. Till today, we have not heard anything about them. The case has been pending till today that I'm talking to you. In the same February, in a village called Bomaju, in a village called Odujeje, in a village called Asa, about 20 persons have been unalived in this community, in the same Benue State. We talk of Agatu in August. 9 were unalived, including a police officer. In May 7th, 2025, in Otukpo, Benue State, 2 prayer leaders of the Catholic Church were unalived. My own classmate as a priest also, in his own parish, when they came to attack, they shot him. He has been on POP. The POP was just removed last month. He has been in the orthopedic session. In the cell of my diocese also, the kidnapping and maiming of priests all over. We heard of one in Enugu State, the priest who was unalive a few weeks ago in Enugu State. It's on my profile there on TikTok and all of that. We can keep mentioning. I'm only focusing on Benue State. I'm not talking of Castina. I'm not talking of Plateau State. I'm not talking of Niger State. I'm not talking of other places. These are just to mention a few. These ones I'm mentioning are the particular ones. The general ones are there that we can't even talk of it. When Boko Haram started, it started from the church, if we can remember. It started from bombing of the churches, if we can remember. And it was not a problem until it degenerated to the parks. Then it became a general concern. Until it degenerated down to the far north. As I'm talking to you, the far north is in a mess in Nigeria. It is in a mess. That is the general one, the general insecurity and all of that. So all that we are saying is that life, every life matters. Either is a life of a Christian, of a Muslim, of pagan, atheist, every life matters. And I've been calling on everyone, both Christian, Muslim, every religion that we stand. If we do not stand to wage war against the common enemy now, the common enemy will grow and degenerate to grow up to become a monster that will consume all of us. Some may say, oh, Father is talking, he doesn't like it. Most of my friends are Muslims. I have a foundation, All My Helping Hands Foundation. Those who have benefited, if you check the statistics, about 80% who have benefited are the Muslims. I've done project of water, solar power borehole in communities. They are Muslims community, 90% Muslim percentage of the population. And also, so I do all of those things, training of children. I try to enlighten, to take children out of the street. Because the more they remain on the street, the more they get indoctrinated, and the more this problem will continue. And we'll have no rest, we'll have no peace. And human life is not valued. If they grow up with a bad orientation, therefore we shouldn't expect anything good from them. We try with Normal Helping Hands Foundation to take them out of the street, as many as we can. As I'm talking to you in Benue State, I spoke with a priest, a friend of mine, who is in that area. He said in his own area, they have 8 camps, internally displaced people, 8 camps. He said at the moment, in his own camp where he is, about 5,000 families. We're not talking of individuals. 5,000 families are stranded, those on record. They are stranded. And when you hear figures of churches destroyed, some will say it is fabricated. In the same Benue State, I schooled there since 2000, and I was there since 2009. I spent more than 10, 11 years there in the Benue State. That's where I schooled in the minor seminary. In one of the churches, they have more than 100 outstations connected to one church, the station churches. All of these churches today they are histories. They are no longer in existence from the bottom to the point. Can someone hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. We're here.
Okay. So the churches are all from the interior, down from the interior, down coming to the state capital. Now they are all destroyed. If we talk, the Yelewata in Benue State, it is few miles away from the military base, the village, the community that was attacked. If you see the pictures from that place, you will not sleep well. If you see the picture from that place, you cannot eat. How human beings were roasted, how human beings were being designed by machete. Even those who survived it. Some children survived it with one leg off. Some survived it with one hand off. Some survived it without their bum again. So it is a pathetic situation. The situation is real. And all that we are calling for is for both government and individual, every religion, to come together that every life matters. Let our voice be heard. And let the unaliving of people in Nigeria should stop. That is what we are calling on. And for what we are doing in the Oma Helping Hands Foundation at the moment, for the people in Benue State, those who have been displaced, we try to organize program for them, for the girls, because they are the majorly affected people. Now people are taking advantage of the girls, that they have come from the villages, they have come to the camp, and the government is not taking care of them enough. They have needs, they have things to take care that they need in their day-to-day living. They cannot get those things. Therefore, people take advantage of them as less as $5. They take them to do anything they want to do with them, which is in a way of reducing the human person. It is dehumanizing. So let the unaliving stop and let peace be restored, that every life matters. The right for worship as a Christian, worship as a Muslim. One should not be afraid of worshiping his or her God. Thank you so much. Let me stop here.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much, Reverend. We appreciate that. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about there. First, guys, I find it very telling that it took less than 2 minutes for a Muslim to call into the show and immediately make a snide comment about people losing their lives, because ever since October 7th, 2023, we have heard nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, from mainstream media and from social justice groups at large about the supposed genocide in Gaza. And I'm not denying that it's happening. But I want you guys to notice the difference in the way that people are willing to talk about things when it is a predominantly Muslim country. But because, and I'm going to say this, and I don't care if this offends anybody, because it is Christians that are being targeted, people don't care. People don't care. If this was a country, if this was Iran or Iraq and people were being targeted in mosques because they were Muslims or for whatever reason, there would be no shortage of outcry all the way up to the White House. But now all of a sudden we have people calling and saying, why are you crying about Christians? Now imagine if a Christian called into a Muslim show and said, well, why are you crying about Gaza? Right? You'd be canceled immediately. But here's the thing when it comes down to it, ladies and gentlemen, I say on this channel all the time, we are in a spiritual war. Satan does not need at all to ensure that Muslims are taken care of, because Satan has the Muslim faith exactly where he wants them, which is rejecting Jesus Christ. This is why there is such a divide between the way that travesties are looked at when they happen to Christians and when they happen to Muslims, right? Now, to back up what the Reverend was saying, there is no way that you could, one quick Google search, right? And I'm going to share this with the world, because when people say things like it's not happening or it's propaganda, I think that for me, there's nothing worse than somebody who's willingly ignorant. Now, these are just numbers right off the search. What I searched was, and I'm going to make it bigger so that everyone can see. We go down here, right? And there's a bunch of incidents. Reports from human rights groups show tens of thousands of Christians have been unalived in Nigeria since 2009. Think about that, guys. Since 2009, that's only 16 years. 16 years, okay, with specific estimates varying widely depending on the source. Obtaining precise figures is challenging due to the ongoing nature of violence and limited access to conflict zones. Leading causes, the unalivings are driven by Islamist extremist groups like Boko Haram and its offshoot ISWAP, as well as radicalized Fulani and herdsmen militias. The underlying factors are issues like economic competition over land, ethnic rivalries, and poor government response also contribute to the violence, which the Reverend touched on every single one of those things. Now, I want you guys to look at this. This is from the International Society for Civil Liberties and the Rule of Law. They call themselves the Inner Society. Since 2009, at least 52,250, at least. And they're saying at least, guys, because a lot of times they can't account for people who are missing. They can't account for people who have been decimated to the point where you can't recognize. Sometimes, guys, and I wish that I wasn't one of these people that knew this firsthand, but sometimes when there's a travesty, you honestly can't make sense of sometimes where some people start and other people end. That's the nicest way I can say that. So they have to estimate, because when people are massacred like that, a lot of times you have no idea what you're looking at, and they're just trying to guess at how many human beings were actually here at one point. As sad as that sounds, that's just how it is, right? So 52,250 Nigerian Christians have been unalived by Islamist militants. In the first 220 days of 2025, over 7,000 Christians were unalived. So in this year alone, only 220 days, 7,000 Christians, okay? Total civilians since 2009. These numbers are heart-wrenching. The same group, the Inner Society, estimates that 189,000 civilians have been unalived in total. And of that 189,000, 125,000 were Christians. Now, here's the thing. When you look at the website like Yahoo News and places who are giving this information, these are not people who are conservative Christian friendly, right? These are not people who are going to sit there and have bleeding hearts for Christians. And yet even they are being honest about these massacres, right?